Is it possible to beat Super Gore Nest Master level with only the pistol? Maybe. Watch to find out. I'm gonna lay out some general rules real quick. First off, it's on Nightmare. Second off, pistol only. With the exception of anything that can't be categorized as a gun. Bad news though, Marauders. They're a pain in the ass without burst weapons. The pistol doesn't deal enough damage. I can hit them on the green light, but they won't stun. It's infeasible, chipping away about 1/50 of their health bar and maybe landing a blood punch by sheer happenstance. So anytime I encounter one, I'm just going to use the kill eye command to compensate for having such a massive crutch. The crucible will no longer apply to the claws that I had previously set down. With that, we begin. The first two arenas were actually far easier than I had anticipated, given I was basically firing the equivalent to paintballs at everything. I would say I made quick work of it, but it was very slow. Efficient work would be a better way to put it. Here's where we encountered problems though. The fog room, all fine, up until the Marauders showed up, and I realized just how infeasible it really was, how it really would have been to kill one of them with a pistol. This unfortunately means there's no double Marauder shenanigans in here, but we'll have to live with that. The outside arena wasn't anything overly special, chipped away at everything, although I will say the pistol is somewhat unreliable at putting enemies in a stagger, so the Cybermechs gave me a bit more trouble than I expected, but it was still very manageable. I had expected the next arena would give me some trouble, and I was quite right. It did. But I eventually learned I could keep out of range, for the most part, by just abusing the monkey bar. After that, I had to just chip away at everything until I finally won. The next arena was, if you could call it an arena, a tad forgettable. It was all fodder, I had Equipment Fiend, and I was basically spamming my frag grenades. It was fundamentally the same if I were to have a full arsenal. The next arena, I had kept true to the rules I set. I used Kill AI to get rid of the Marauder, I killed the Arachnotrons, and I proceeded. This next arena was a pain. I don't have an idea on why, but to put it into specifics the best way that I can, is these enemies are absolutely relentless. The geometry you have to work with is far from generous. That coupled with the fact that I'm basically shooting spitballs at them, it sucked. But that's not where the nightmare ends. It's the next part that really cements this as one of the worst points of the level for this challenge, because it doesn't load a checkpoint in between, so if you make a mistake, you've got to go back to an arena you've already completed. I did get it done, but this is the part that almost made me consider scrapping this challenge as a whole. I expected the next section to rough me up somewhat, but no, first try, which is probably the only time in this entire challenge run that I had the feeling of being underwhelmed by something, but not for very long. The next part has nothing noteworthy I can say about it, but the part after? Oh, most definitely. See, it was as tame as it could be for a pistol challenge, until a very familiar problem arose. The Archvile suffered from the same issue the Marauder had. I couldn't deal enough damage to falter him via damage. The only way I could get him to stop summoning was if I had a blood punch, ice bomb, frag grenade, which was troubling to say the least, but through trial and error, I managed to beat this section. The section after that was nothing notable. I had cleared it with relative ease. The invisible whiplashes hadn't troubled me much either. But the section afterwards, I felt a huge wave of relief, because getting Berserk and then quad damage right after is amazing for the BB gun I was working with. But I'd like to envision it as the calm before the storm. I stuck to the original plan, used Kill AI on the Marauders, but what succeeded it was the worst part of the run, bar none. That nagging urge to scrape this idea was returning. But in a sort of sunk cost fallacy, I continued. This is funny because I had gone into this arena not thinking much of it, but that's when I remembered. These Archviles would not let up until they were dead, because I was doing so little damage. I had also sorely underestimated multiple times exactly how long they'd take to kill. I'd like to say I got by because I'm good at the game, but that may be partially true, but this was so insanely by the skin of my teeth that the majority of it was luck. The escape sequence had a similar feeling of relief as the room with the power-ups gave, given that shooting things wasn't a requirement. Maybe even a bigger relief considering it'd finally be done. So yes, beating this master level with only your pistol is possible. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. This challenge took effort, and putting it into a digestible format did as well. I did this on the worst editing software known to man, Clipchamp. So, see ya.